Hi there. Today I'm going to talk about Lair of Dreams by Libba Bray. I don't have the book here because it's in my library, and yeah, call me lazy, but yeah, it's like in the top of it, and I have to get like just a step to get to it. My back is killing me, and I don't feel my legs, so I decided to just okay, screw up and just do the review without the book. I have to say that I love the Diviner series. Lair of Dreams is the second book in the four-book series. And I have to say that when I did a review of the first book, I remember saying, okay, I love the first book, but you can see that there's a lot of seeds that are just, to put there, and you can see that the story is going to be growing bigger because you have lots of people who are introduced in the first book, but you can see that they're going to be giving you much more in on upcoming books. So I have to say that so far I have read these two, but Light of Dreams is going to be like right now. It's my favorite. I love that because in this one we are going to find Henry. If you remember him, he is the guy who's living with Theta, and he is a dream walker. And he finds himself in a dream, and he finds another dream walker called a Link. I don't know if you remember her. She was working in a Chinese restaurant in the first book, and she's going to be an amazing new character. That she was presented in the first book, but she's going to be so much more in the second one. I have to say that I did love her take because as you remember, the books are in New York in the 1920s, and there is the Chinese act and all of that. And for me, it was a great way of knowing what really happened there and the things that the Chinese people had to come against. And I have to say that I did read the book. I don't know when the review is going to be launched, but when I was reading the book, it was when the COVID pandemic struck. So it was like, for me, it was like easier in a way to relate to the things that were happening in the book, because there is this big pandemic in the book too, in which people go to sleep and they never wake up, and they blame the people in the United States blame the Chinese people because it began in Chinatown, and so they began to see to focus all the rage against the Chinese people. And well, there is a quarantine, and they are trying to keep people, from getting this malady spreading, and they hand washing daily, and they're wearing face masks, and it was like, oh my god, they're here too, because wasn't expecting. The Diviners are supernatural books, and I wasn't expecting to find anything related to the pandemic in there, but yeah. But as I was saying, for me it was easier to kind of relate to the characters, because sadly, in this pandemic we're seeing like there is racist people who are using it to just belittle other races, and in the book we find that because we have the Chinese act, and it's going to be told by Ling and all her people, her family and friends and everything. And also, we are going to see how the people in the United States began, just bashing these Chinese people because they thought that they were the ones that began spreading this malady. So, it was like, it was real. Whoa, it was crazy. But as I say, it was easier because I could understand the panic and the fear and, everything in a way that probably I wouldn't have been able to understand if there had been the pandemic. Not that I would have preferred not to have had the pandemic, but yeah. But the thing is that I did love that there is this illness, this sleeping illness. It seems that, as I say, that it began in Chinatown, and there's people who fall asleep and you cannot wake them up, and then it's like they get consumed from the inside and they die. So they don't know how to stop this illness from spreading. They don't know what causes it. They don't know anything. So as I said, they began blaming the Chinese people, and Ling, it's a dream walker, and she finds Henry in one of her dreams, and we're going to have like this. If you remember the first book, we are going to find different actions. That's what happens when I want to say so much. We are going to find different characters, and they are going to be carrying different action courses. We are going to find Memphis and his brother Isaiah, and he's going to be, trying to be with Tita, and he's going to try to get back his healing mojo. And in his side, we're going to go to different cultures about, where he's come from. He's a black guy, and he has a lot of ancestry, and his side of his stories is going to be bringing that up, and I really want to see which one of the two books that are remaining in the series just talk about him and all his ancestry, because I love that. And also we are going to find Theta, we are going to be talking more about her powers, what she can do, what happened in the past that she's running from. Also we are going to find Evie. Evie, it's one character, I think she's one of the fan favorites, but she's a character that I don't really have this very big relationship with, because sometimes she can be a bit too much, because yeah, she's like a vivanta. She doesn't think about the future. She doesn't want to live in the now, so she gets drunk and she goes to parties, and she's becoming unreliable in this book. But there comes a point in the book in which she's going to kind of explain what this is going on and what's happening to her, and you're going to feel for her. So yeah, just don't strangle her, just hold on. And yeah, obviously we're going to have Henry, and well, and Jericho. I wasn't forgetting Jericho. Jericho's going to try to deal with things. He is kind of in love with Evie, but Evie has run away, and she doesn't want to go back to the museum because she's hungry with her uncle. So Jericho's left in the museum with Sam, which he kind of hates, but they becoming more friendly. And yeah, there's lots of things happening, because there's this publicity stunt in which Evie says that she's going to marry Sam, and they have to be in this pretend fake relationship, but they began to work together and they began to have feelings. And also talking about Sam, we are going to have more about his backstory, about what happened with her mom, about the Buffalo Project, and I'm not going to say anything more about that because it's one of the mysteries that I think that carries on the next books. So yeah, and also Jericho, we are going to keep carrying about his story too, about the fact that he's more machine, the man, and the blue vials that he needs to live, and what this relationship he has with this guy that kind of owns him as long as he has the vials. So yeah, that's going to be amazing to discover too. But this book is going to be centered in Henry. He and Link, he travel in the dream world, and they discover a place where you can interact with dreams. And Henry is going to find Louis, the guy he loved it was hinted in the first book, and there's going to be so much about their story, and it's very heartbreaking. And Ling is going to find a friend, a Chinese girl who has been told that there is someone there waiting in America for her to marry, and that she's going to have everything she has ever wished. And everything that happens in the dream world has some link to what is happening in reality. And I have to say that I love this book so much. I love all the characters, and I love how everything that was being hinted in the first book flourishes in this new one. And I love how you can see that there is a lot of characters that still have to have like the main role in the book, and how everything is interconnected, and there's lots of things that we are going to see in the following books. And I have to say, I love how Libba Bray has created this world in which you have like as I say, New York, the flappers New York in the 1920s with the Prohibition Act where they could drink, and all of that, and she has merged it with supernatural things, but also she tells about real things, about like the Chinese Prohibition Act, and she tells about immigration, about Indians, about black people, and all those things that makes you feel for the characters. And I love also how Evie and Theta just try to be more than just the female that has to be home, and they want to be their own women, and they began to say, okay, women can be the same, we are equal. And I love all those things that are lurking in the book, just to say it in some way. So if you haven't read The Diviners, you probably should, because it's amazing. It tackles in the supernatural. You have ghosts, and you have monsters, and you have monsters that are humans, and you have this project that the government did called the Buffalo Project, and you have all these characters that are amazing, and they are so believable, and the books are so well writing. And I think that if you began the first one, you're going to get hooked. I have to say that I did like the first one, but I did completely love the second one. And yeah, I have the third and the fourth just on my to be read pile. So yeah, it's I'm probably going to be jumping into them very soon. Yeah, I know that this review is kind of strange, but the thing is, I don't want to say anything because the books have this kind of mystery vibe, and I don't want to say anything that can spoil the reading for anyone. So yeah, just pick them up. And find out for yourself if you like them. I think that you're going to love them because, as I say, they have the supernatural element, but also they have real things. And as I said, talking about the pandemic before, I think that some of the things that are presented in the book sadly are more alive than ever. And not because of the pandemic, but what people do. Do you have people who are very good and act very, very goodly, and there is people who just try to blame somebody else. And when there's people who want to blame somebody else, they usually go to people who doesn't look like them or don't act like them or don't they have the same culture or race. So yeah, I think that this kind of books about inclusion are more needed than ever. It shouldn't be like that. It should be, I don't know, I go out in the street and we all look different, and I think it should be high time that everyone is accepted. But yeah. Okay, I'm deviating. Just pick these books and you're going to love them. Thank you for watching. Bye.